Gentleman is recognized for such
Madam
time as he may
Speaker,
consume.
today's rule provides for consideration of the Senate amendment to H.R. 1319, the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. First, the House considered the budget resolution setting the budget reconciliation instructions for this massive coronavirus relief bill. Then, the House considered and passed on a partisan basis the budget resolution authorizing a deficit increase of nearly $2 trillion. After an all-night vote-a-rama in the Senate, the House will consider this package yet for a third time. 3 times the House will have debated and passed a partisan package, and only 9% is dedicated to actually crushing the coronavirus. This isn't just disappointing, it's irresponsible, and it's unrepresentative of the American people. Currently, Democrats only hold the majority by 5 representatives. That means that the 211 Republicans representing nearly 150 million Americans have been shut out of this process. 150 million Americans are not represented in the package before us today. Madam Speaker, we all want to provide the resources to successfully emerge on the other side of the pandemic. This bill does include funding for testing and vaccine deployment, as well as some economic support and aid to those who are unemployed or experiencing food shortages. But this support is not targeted toward those identified as most vulnerable. This bill includes $1,400 in economic stimulus payments to anyone making $75,000 a year or less, including those who may not have lost their jobs or experienced reduced employment. In addition, there is no mechanism to ensure that these payments go only to American citizens. Republicans were pleased that the infrastructure projects in California and New York, projects that had nothing to do with coronavirus relief, well, they've been removed, and we're glad of that. My Democratic colleagues may argue that these projects would have created jobs, but why then are Democrats also providing $125 billion to schools even if they remain closed? Teachers want to teach. Teachers want to be safely in their classrooms teaching. The Centers for Disease Control has confirmed that with appropriate safety precautions, the risk of coronavirus transmission in the schools is minimal. In fact, many states are prioritizing teachers for vaccines. As you know, Madam Speaker, our state of Texas is doing so. Why are we paying schools to keep them home? This bill also provides $362 billion for state and local governments. The CARES Act, remember the CARES Act? It passed on March 27th. The CARES Act already provided $150 billion coronavirus relief fund to help local entities with lost revenue during the shutdowns. However, many local authorities have chosen to keep their economies shut down despite a drop in coronavirus cases and the effectiveness of safety measures like social distancing and mask wearing. Congress should not bail out state and local governments for mismanagement that occurred prior to the pandemic. The total revenue loss of state and local governments during the pandemic is $7.6 billion. This bill provides over $219 billion, and it's available until expended. Let me say that again. It's available until expended. That's $200 billion more than the lost revenue due to the pandemic, the crisis with which this bill is meant to fix. This bill also provides $400 million for an emergency food and shelter program, with $110 million set aside specifically for humanitarian relief to families and individuals encountered by Department of Homeland Security officials. Since his first day in office, President Biden has worked to overturn the advances achieved by the Trump administration to limit border crossings by those undocumented, which is particularly concerning given that limited coronavirus testing is occurring along our southern border. Just recently, over 100 individuals crossing without documentation tested positive for the coronavirus, but were subsequently released into the interior of the United States. We cannot allow the desires of foreign nationals to come before the needs of American citizens. We should provide testing and personal protective equipment to all encountered along our southern border so that we can protect our frontline officials and protect American communities. These are only a few of the concerning provisions included in this so-called relief package, but the most concerning piece is that Republicans' participation in this process was extremely limited by Democrats. Bipartisanship is not unprecedented. We came together to pass prior coronavirus relief bills. Literally 1 year ago, March of last year, we passed 3 bipartisan coronavirus relief packages through the House and the Senate. And we can do so again. Why now are the Democrats deciding Republicans are not worthy? We're not worthy partners and limiting the voices of our constituents. Why should only half of the Congress be allowed to participate in the making of a law that will affect the entire country? Is only half of the American population worth saving? That's the question that is being asked today. With that, I urge opposition to the rule, and I'll reserve the balance of my time.